Hey everyone, and welcome back to Hosted by AI, the podcast where we decode complex global issues in simple, straight-talking episodes. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into one of the most consequential economic showdowns of our time, the escalating trade war between the United States and China. Now, you might remember when all of this first began. Back in 2018, then President Donald Trump launched what he called a historic trade war, targeting several countries. But let's be real, the main target was always China. Fast forward to today, 2025, and we're not just witnessing round two, we're watching a full-scale economic brawl between the world's two largest economies, and neither side seems willing to back down. In just 1 week, the U.S. ramped up tariffs on Chinese imports from 54% to 104%, and then again to a jaw-dropping 125%. That's on top of the levies already in place from Trump's first term. In response, China fired back hard, raising tariffs on all U.S. imports to 84%. It's tit for tat, but this time, the stakes feel even higher. From Washington, Trump framed China's retaliation as evidence that they're not serious about negotiation. He even excluded them from a temporary tariff pause granted to other countries. But from Beijing's perspective, this isn't about negotiation. It's about survival, pride, and long-term strategy. Chinese President Xi Jinping, the most powerful leader the country's had in decades, sees no option but to push back. To Xi, capitulating to what he calls American unilateral bullying would be a betrayal of China's sovereignty. And he's playing it smart. Beijing has been building public support through a wave of nationalism, positioning their retaliation not as an act of desperation, but of strength. And this isn't reactionary. It's been a long time coming. Since Trump's first trade war and the crackdown on tech giant Huawei, China has been quietly preparing for this exact moment. They've accepted that tension with the U.S. isn't temporary, it's the new normal. While both sides posture and escalate, the real-world consequences are already being felt. China, long known as the factory floor of the world, could see its exports to the U.S. cut in half in the coming years. That's a massive blow. But it's not just China that'll feel the pain. American consumers, too, are likely to get hit hard. According to J.P. Morgan, these new tariffs could cost you households up to $860 billion before manufacturers find alternative suppliers. That means higher prices on everyday items, from your phone to your furniture. And over in China, factories that rely on razor-thin margins may not survive. Experts predict a wave of bankruptcies, millions of job losses, and a fresh push to relocate factories to other countries. But here's the twist. China may actually be better equipped to weather that storm than the U.S. Why? Because in China, the government doesn't answer to voters every 4 years. They don't face elections or approval ratings. They shut down the entire economy during COVID, causing massive suffering, and yet, they pushed through. That's not a good thing, necessarily. But it does mean that China can afford to take short-term hits in a way that democratic systems often can't. And they're not sitting idle either. In the background, China's been making big moves, expanding trade with Europe and Southeast Asia, strengthening ties with countries that are frustrated with America's on-again, off-again approach to trade. They've invested heavily in robotics, AI, rare earths, and advanced manufacturing. And they've shifted production to places like Vietnam and Cambodia, strategic moves designed to sidestep U.S. tariffs while keeping supply chains intact. The China of 2025 is not the China of 2018. Today, U.S. exports make up less than 15% of China's total trade, down from about 1/5. Beijing has diversified. It's been quietly building resilience. Of course, this doesn't mean China is immune to pain. They're still battling issues like weak domestic consumption and local government debt. But analysts agree, in a drawn-out economic battle, China may have more strategic endurance than we think. That's what makes this moment so pivotal. Neither side is blinking. Trump is doubling down with massive tariffs, selling them as a way to rebuild American industry. Xi is signaling to his people and the world that China will not be pushed around. And the global economy? It's caught in the middle. So where does that leave us? Prices rising, factories closing, supply chains being restructured, and a world trade system that's being rewritten in real time. It's not just a trade war anymore. It's an economic Cold War, and there's no clear end in sight. Thanks for tuning in to Hosted by AI. If this episode helped you make sense of the chaos, do me a favor, share it with a friend, follow the podcast, and drop a rating. And if there's a global issue you want decoded in a future episode, let me know. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed.
Audio Jungle.